text. So, and we have an example here where we have names that are joined together, and all we want to do is we want to separate the name. Do we all have this practice file? So kindly confirm you have this. If you don't have this, it will be sent to the group right now. So if you have this, let me try to zoom this. So, okay, good. So here, all we want to do is, we want to bring out the first name here. So we have Nancy, we have Andy, John, Maria, then Yovane. Is this Yovane or Vaughn? Anyhow. So this is what we want to do. We want to bring out this first name. So all I'm going to do here is I'll try to input the first name, which is Nancy, and enter. Then I'll try to type Andy. The moment I type Andy, you would notice that it has suggested the other names for me. It has understood the pattern that, okay, it's like this is what this user wants to do. It is smart enough to understand that, oh, there are some names before the full stop. I think this is what this person is requesting for. So if you can look closely, if that is what you want, then you can just click on your enter, then it will fill it down for you. You can also use your flash fill also to do that. What your flash fill will do is it will try to recognize a pattern. So as soon as the pattern is recognized, then it would follow that particular pattern for you. So if you look at this, you would see that you have Smith, then you have not before the full stop. All I want to do is I want to flash fill this. My home tab, when you go to your home tab, then you go to your fill. Under the fill, then you have your flash fill. The moment you click on your flash fill, then you are meant to have the list of the last names. Do we understand? And you can also use your flash fill just for a one-time operation. So now going to the next is we splitting our text using delimiters. So I said yesterday, when we say delimiters can come in form of full stop, slash, comma, space bar, tabs. If you look at the data that you have here, you'll see that the names are separated by comma. When you have Nancy, you have a comma, you have Smith, you have a comma, and you want to bring them out individually, the first name, the last name, and the company name. How do you go about this? Would you suggest that you start copying it? No, that is not efficient enough. That's why you have your text. So on your text or columns, how do you go about that? So the first thing is you would highlight the data you want to separate. Now this data has been highlighted. The next thing is you go to your data tab. On your data tab, navigate to your text to columns. When you navigate to text to columns, a pane will pop up. Then there are two options, the delimited and the fixed width. So in this case, we want to separate the text using the delimiter, which is a comma. So I'm clicking on my next. Now you have some delimiters here that have been specified for you. Is it the tab? Is it the semicolon, comma, space? But here we want to use the comma. Now the comma is, so you see the preview. showing you that, oh, is this what you want? If this is what you want, okay, this is what I want, then you can click on your next. Your data format should be in general. And the next is the destination. What you want to separate, where do you want it to be? You'll see that on the destination, it is still showing you your address, which is your C32. That's the particular cell that was selected, but I don't want it to be there. Then I'll go and click on my location, which is under my D32. I go back again, then I click on finish, and I hit my OK. So if you look at this, the data has been separated. Do we have anybody that don't understand this? Or should I go once again? Let me try to do this again. So this has been highlighted, the data has been highlighted. You navigate to your data tab, then you click on your text to column. On your text to column, you are using delimiter. So you click on your delimited. So you click on your next. You select your comma. You click on your next. Your data format should be on general. Then you select the address you want it to be. You select the location you want this to be. That's under the location. Then you select your D32. You go back to your pane. Then you click on finish. I hope you have this. Is this clear? Please, do we have anybody that don't understand this?
Explain again.
Okay, thank you. So I'll go once again. I'm clearing this. So my data is highlighted. If you look at the data closely, you will notice that they are all separated by comma. You have the first name, the last name, then the company name. You want to separate them. So there are some situations where you would export a data from a database and it would, maybe the name, the company name, the email, they would all be joined together, either by space or by a slash. So when you have exported it, you have downloaded it, you now want to separate them. Then text to column would be good for that. So in this scenario, you have highlighted your data. You go to your data tab. You navigate through your text to columns. You select your delimiter. You click on your next. Then you ensure that the delimiter that is selected is the comma. You click on the next. Ensure that your data format is on general. The next is your destination. Where you want the data you want to separate. Where do you want it to be? Then I want this data to be on the next column, which is on column D. Then I go back to my pane. Then I click on finish. Then enter. So then this has been separated. So this is where you can use your text to column. However, you can also use formulas to split your text. You can use your formulas to split your text. There are several text functions in Excel where you have your lefts, your rights, your len, you have your text before, you have your text after, you have your mid. They all have their functions, and while you are performing some operations, situations will around where you need to use two or more formulas together so that it will be able to give you the desired function you want it to give you. So in this case, we have a name, we have a name and the last name. What we want to do is we want to separate this. You can use your left, you can use your right. But first is I would explain how we use the left function, the function, and the len also. We would know how we'll be able to marry them together. I have Kehinde. I have Kehinde. Let me try to zoom these. So I have Kehinde. All this is clear enough. So I have Kehinde. So I want to use my left. I want to use right. I want to use mid. I want to use find. I want to use len. So we are going to use these 5 functions, these 5 formulas. We are going to use everything together. So in the case of left, what left will do for you is it will give you some set of characters from the left. So I'm typing my equals to left. So if you look at it closely, it will tell you that what left will do is it will return a specified numbers of characters from the start of a text string. When you say text string, it is a normal text. So I'm saying left. Then the first argument we have here is text. So what particular text do you want me to perform this left operation on? Which is Kehinde. Then comma. The next argument here is number of character. You see num underscore character. So how many numbers of character do I want? If I say 3, I see that it brought out KEH. If I say the numbers of characters I want is 4. So this has made it possible for me to be able to bring out the text from the left. Same thing goes to right function. So if I type my equals to right, then the first argument is the text. Then the second argument is the numbers of characters. Then I can say, okay, give me 3 characters from the right. You can see it is giving me 3 characters from the right. When I use left function, it gives me 4 characters from the left. That's using both left and right. Let me try to bring out the arguments here. This is left. So this is the argument for left. This is the argument for left. Let me bring it here. Good. Now let's do for mid also. Mid will return the arguments in the middle of a character. So the argument we have here is the text, the start number, and the numbers of character. So I'm saying equals to mid. So what particular text do you want me to bring out the middle text? So I'm saying Kehinde, comma. Where should I start counting from? Which is the start number? If you say 2, then comma, then how many numbers of characters do you want me to return? I want you to return 3 characters, then enter. If you look at this, it returned EHI, which means we have specified that start counting from the second letter, then bring out 3 characters. Do we understand? Let me show us the good. So if you look at this mid, the text, this is a text, which is Kehinde. Then the next argument is the start number. I said you start from the second character. So if you look at Kehinde, the first character is K, the second character is E. So which is this 2 that was specified in the function. Then the next argument, which is the number of characters, I said, okay, start from the second one, then give me 3 characters. 4 characters that I want, I'll say 4. Then you can see it has included N. That is how you'd use your mid to bring out characters in the middle of a text. I hope we understand. Please, if there is a particular one you don't understand, before we move further, please signify. So I'll assume we all understand this. So the next function here is find. What does find do? So let me bring out the argument for find.
Please, can you come again with the mid, please?
Okay. So for the mid, let me bring out the characters again for the mid. So equals to mid. The mid. So the major argument that you have in mid is the text, the start number, then the number of characters. These are the 3 arguments that you would work with while using your mid. So I have Kehinde, and I want to bring out the middle number. I say number. I want to bring out the middle text. Then I'm using my mid function. I'm saying equals to mid. Then the text that I'm working with is Kehinde. I've selected Kehinde. That's the first argument. Then I hit my comma. The second argument is the start number. Where should I start counting from? So if I say start counting from the third character, then I say 3. I hit my comma. So if I start counting from the third character, how many characters do you want me to bring out from Kehinde? I want you to give me 4 characters. 4. Then enter. So if you look at your Kehinde, starting from the third character, it has given us 4 alphabets, which is HIND. Do we understand?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, good. So that is for mid. Now we'll go to find. When you want to use your find will give you the location or position of a particular text in the middle, the particular alphabet in the middle of a text. So let's say I'm finding alphabet H. I'm saying equals to find. Let me bring out the arguments for find. Equals to find. So the arguments for find equals to find. The argument for find is find text, within text, then the start number. So I'm saying equals to find what text am I looking for? The text I'm looking for is H. Please, while you are putting text in the middle of the formula, if it is a text, ensure it is in your parentheses, it is in your quotes. So I'm looking for letter H, comma, within what text? Within Kehinde. Then the next argument is a start number, which is optional. So as I said earlier, when you have an argument that is in square brackets, it means the argument is optional. If you use it in your formula, it will work. And if you don't use it, your formula will also work. So let's say we now have two letter H, then we can now specify that, okay, start counting from this particular position. But in this case, we only have one H. So when we press our enter, you would see that letter H is the third alphabet here. Do we understand the find function? Do we understand the find function?
Assist, I will appreciate if you can come again.
Okay. So for the find is the text that you want to find within the text that you want to find. So I have a name that is called Ade Bimpe, or I have Ademola Good. And I want to bring out letter E. I want to know the position. I want to find this letter E in Ademola. And I'm using my find function. I hit my equals to find. Then what text am I looking for? That is letter E. Then I'll ensure that my letter E is in quotes because it is a text. Then I hit my comma. The next argument is within what text? Within Ademola. I'll select my Ademola and enter. And it is telling me that E is the third character in Ademola. I hope you understand that.
Very clear.
Good. Now, I have a set of number or set of characters. I don't know if this character is 13, if it is 18. I have a name. I want to know the numbers of characters that is in a particular cell. How do I go about that? That is where LED comes in. It will give you the numbers of characters that you have in a cell, and it will also include space. So I have equals to len, and I say Kehinde. It is telling me I have 7 characters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So in Kehinde, we have 7 alphabets in Kehinde. So we all understand the fundamentals of these text functions. Now, what we will now start doing is how we'll be merging these functions together. How will they work? So I have a name joined together with another name, or I have a date that is joined together with a time, joined together with a location. How do you differentiate them? How do you split them out using your text functions? So now let's go back to, so I have a name here, and I want to bring out the first name. Now I'm saying, okay, this is the name. I want to bring out the first name. How do I go about it? The name is on the left. Then I say equals to my left. Left argument is asking me, what is the text? I'm saying this is a text. Then I hit my comma. The next argument is, how many characters do you want me to return? A novice will decide, okay, let me count this myself. I'll start counting from Y. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then I'll say, okay, 6 characters. Then it has given me the name. But for how long would you start counting the alphabet? When you have a function that would count the characters for you. So now, I'm merging this together with my find function. Since my find will tell me the position, you tell me the position the character falls under, then I'm using my left function together with the find function. So instead of me counting manually, I'll use my equals to left, then the text, this is the text, then I hit my comma, numbers of characters. I know the first name I have here, it is before my space bar. Then I'll say, okay, help me look for my space. So I'm using my find function together with this. What text am I looking for? I'm looking for my space. I'm looking for my space. Within what text? Within this name. Good. Then I close the first parenthesis we have here. If you hit your enter, you'll see that you have the name. But you need to be careful here. If you count these numbers of characters using your len equals to len, you count these numbers of characters equals to len, you see that you have 7 characters, whereas the alphabet that you have here, it is 6. Where is the 7th character coming from? The 7th character that you have is the space bar. But you don't want the space bar to be included. Then you can subtract that space bar. That is where you can now have your -1. So if you look at this, this is 6. So which is correct? Please, do we have anybody that don't understand this? So I would assume we all understand this. So this has given me the first name. So this is why using our left together with find function. So we can move it a bit further using our right function, using the len function, then using the find function also. So here, I'm using my equals to right. My right is saying the first argument is the text, which is the text. Second argument is the numbers of characters. And I already know that len will give me the numbers of characters, will give me the position of a character. So instead of me counting this manually, why not len and find do the calculation for me? So I'll just bring in my len. So equals to len, my len. So my len will give me the total length of this text. Then I'm telling it to find space bar. I'm telling you to find space bar. So then I'm subtracting this to bring out my space bar for me. To find my space bar. Within what text? Within my name. Then this is done. Do we understand this? Please, do we have any question before we move further? Please, do we have any question before we move further? Okay. So now, it will be easy for me to bring out my middle name and the last name here. You can use either your text to column, you can use your find function, you can use your left function, you can use your right function here. So this is easy to use. So in this case, you can use your equals to left. And I'm saying this character then I hit my comma. Then the next argument is, okay, I don't want the name that is after my space. Then I can say find space bar for me. I can say find my space for me. Within what text? Within this text. Remember, so that it won't include the space bar, then you need to remove the space bar by subtracting your 1, enter. So we have Francis. We can also use the right function also. And use your equals to right. So right would ask for the text. So this is the text. You hit your comma. Then the next is, I want to use len to bring out the length of characters. So that's len. Then you can subtract it from the alphabet that is my find here. Bring out my space. I need to find space for me. It's your comma within what text? Within this text. Then I can close my parentheses. Please, we all understand. Please, any question before we move? Do we have any question before we move further? Good. So I would assume we are understanding this. So we'll move to the next, which is transpose. So what does transpose mean? So what transpose mean is you'd change the array of a particular set of data. So you have some set of data in column, you want them to be in row, you have some in row, then you want them to be in column. So what do I mean by that? So I have some numbers here. I have some numbers. Let's say I have some numbers. I have this set of numbers. So I have this set of numbers. They are in rows. So I want them to be in column. Or there are two ways you can do this. Is either you use your function equals transpose, or you copy this, you control C this. As you copy this, then while you want to try to paste this, then you click on your transpose. Under your paste function, you will see your paste, ordinary paste. You see your paste as values. You see your paste with formulas. Then you see transpose. So when you transpose this is in column. Same thing goes to this. This is in column. You want it to be in row. You can control copy this. Then while trying to paste, then you can paste as transpose. That's the first one. The second one is you using the transpose formula that equals to transpose. When you use your equals to transpose, it will request for the array. What do you want to transpose? That is the argument. If I say I want you to transpose these arrays for me, so it will automatically change it to row. Same thing for the other ones too. So equals to transpose. What's my array? This is my array. Then I click on my enter. It will transpose this for me. So transpose means you want to change the orientation of your data set. It is on the column, you want it to be on the row. It is on the row, you want it to be on the column. That is transpose. You can also do this again. So I'm trying to use it here, equals to my transpose. Then I'm highlighting this, then my enter. Then this has transposed this for me. Do we understand this?
So this is how
So this is how transpose works.
So the
next is the sort and filter. So what does sort means? What does filter means? So while you will be working with your data won't come in an organized or structured way. One way or the other, you still need to sort the data. You still need to clean the data. You still need to filter out based on some criteria that you want. So you have a set of data here. You have the department, you have the category, you have the month also. And you have decided that, oh, you want this your department to be sorted alphabetical order. How do you go about this? You can use your sort function when you go to your home tab. So let's say we have the department, we want to have the department in alphabetical order. So I can just click on my department column. I go to my home. Then under the sort and we have the sort and filter here. Then you can then click on sort A to Z. So if you look closely, this has been sorted alphabetical order. So this has been sorted alphabetical order. Do we understand? Same thing goes to the month also. If we want to sort in descending order or ascending order, you want to sort from highest to the lowest or from the lowest to the highest also. You go through the same process. So let's say we are on the November column and I want to sort. You go to your home tab, then click on your sort and filter. I don't want to do this. I want to do this I want to sort from largest to smallest. Then this has been sorted from largest to smallest. Do you understand sorting, please? I need a feedback.
Yes, please.
I need
I
us
need
to
us
know
to know
whether we
whether
are
we are
understanding or
understanding
not.
or not.
Yes.
We are following you, sir.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank you very
thank you
much.
very much.
So that's
So
for
that's
the
for the
salt.
salt.
So when you
So when
say
you
you want
say
to
you want to
filter,
filter,
I'm very sure
I'm
we
very
all
sure we all
understand
understand filter when we make use of a sieve. You use your sieve to filter out some particles. Then to filter out some particles, you have particles on your sieve. You have some that will be filtered out. The same thing happens here in Excel too when you use your filter function. So your filter function will filter out your data based on a particular criteria. So how do you do that? When you click on your header, then you can click on your filter under your sort and filter. Then you have an arrow indicating that, oh, this set of data is ready to be filtered. This set of data is ready to be filtered. So what do we want to do? I want to filter out under my department. I want to filter out my bakery produce. So you click on the drop down and say, okay, kindly filter out my meat for me. The moment you select your meat, then it has filtered out the meat together with the category and the month. Same thing goes to the category also. You have filtered out these based on the department. You can further filter out these based on the category. So I can decide, oh, I want to see for my chicken, then I click on my OK. The next is how can we sort by dates? So before we even move to sort by dates, um, under our splits, I think we have, I think there is a document that was sent out. Do we all have this data I'm presenting? Please, we all have this.
No. When was this one sent out?
Okay,
Okay, it will be shared shortly. So this was actually meant to be done while we are using the text to column, where we separate our data. So we have this set of data. So I would ask us, this particular date, which one is the month, which one is the day? I'm very sure we all know that, okay, the year is the 2022. So from what we have here, what's the month and what's the day? So can anybody just tell me the month and the day? Is it for the month?
The
Is it
fourth is
1,
the
2, 3,
month.
4 the month or the day?
The fourth
The
is the month.
fourth is the month. The fourth is the month. Okay. Then, so how do you know that the fourth is the month?
It reoccurs in all the rows.
Okay, that's an answer. So what if I say the 1, 2, 3 is the month since they are increasing January, February, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So in cases like this, it is always difficult for you to specify the month, and the day. The moment you are having a number that is not above 12, let's say we have 13 in one of these dates, then that will give you a clue that, oh, this is the month and this is the day. But in this particular case, you don't know the month, you don't know the day. Then you can now use your function. We have a function that is called the day. You have the month function. All you need to do is just type your equals to day. Then it will ask you for the particular serial number. Then I'm selecting this. Then it is telling me that the day is the 4. Same thing goes to the month. I'm saying equals to months because I don't know the month. I know this is a date, but I want to bring out the month for me. Then you can select the serial number, then enter. Then it is telling me that the 1 is the month. Do we understand? So while we're talking on text to column, so we have a date here, and I want to separate this date. I want the month to stand alone. I want the day to stand alone. Then I want the year also to stand alone. How do I go about that? So using my text to column, I highlight this. Then I go to my data, and I go to my text to column. I'm using a particular delimiter. Since they are all separated by the slash, so I click on my next. So looking here, you don't have this particular delimiter that you have. All you need to do is just select order, then you specify the type of delimiter that you have here. Then click on your next. Then the next is ensure it is on general. Then you can now select your destination. Where do you want this to be? I said I want it to be here. I go back, then I click on my finish. Good. Now this is what we have. Why are we having this? This is because I don't think this is in general. So we have it is in custom format. Ensure it is in general. Okay, good. So we have this. So if you look closely here, if you look at the second one, if you look at the date, you will notice that the date is joined together with the time. Visually, you're not seeing the time, but if you look at your formula bar, you would see the time, that the time is joined together with the dates. So how do you separate these? We have been talking about using delimiters. There is another option there also that we can use fixed width in our text to column. This has been selected. I navigate my text to column. Instead of me using delimiter, I will specify what I want to do. I use my fixed width. I click on my next. Then it has automatically selected the width for me. If it does not, then you can also select the width yourself by double clicking on it. Then you click on your next, ensure it is on general, then you select the location. I want it to be under the date. Then I click on my finish. So what are we all seeing here on the screen? What are we all seeing on the screen? What is it showing?
It is showing just ash, ash,
What's
ash,
our
ash,
column?
ash, 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 ash.
Okay, good. Thank
For
you.
date and time.
So what that hash means is the cell content, the width of the cell can't contain the cell content. That's why it is showing you hash. So you can just increase the width. You can double click on the width so that you'll be able to view the content in the cell. So when you see hash, hash, hash like that, it means the cell content, the width of the cell is not enough for the cell content. Same thing goes to this. We can also use delimiters also for this. So this has been highlighted. I click on my text to column. I want to use my fixed width. I click on my next. Then I'll decide, okay, this has given me some options. I don't want that. I only want the date to be separated and the time to be separated. Okay, good. Then I'll ensure it is in general. I'll select my location. Then I click on my finish. Then this is it. Any question, please, before we now move a bit further? Do we have any question or no question? Okay, no question. Okay, thank you very much. So now we're moving down to tables. So in Excel, we already know that our Excel looks like a table naturally, but it's a free Excel or a flat file. Excel does not recognize you inputting data in your spreadsheet as a table, not until it is formatted as a table. Then you name the table, then it will be recognized that, oh, this particular set of data is a table, is on a table. This data that we have here, is it a table or not? This is not a table. It's just a data that is inputted on a flat file. This is not a table. How do you format this as a table? You can select any of these, any of your cell contents, or you highlight everything and you format it as a table. Under your home tab, you will see format as table. Then you can select the type of table you want it to look like. Then I ensure that you click your table has a header, and that's if your table has a header. If it does not, it will automatically create a header for you. So now this is my Excel table. If you don't like the Excel table, you can also change the format of how it looks like. You can decide to clear the format. So this is an Excel table. So this table is recognized by Excel as a table. While you are working with your Excel table, always ensure that you name your table. You can have as much as 10, 20 tables while working on Excel. When you now have more than one table, how do you differentiate them? That is where you naming your table comes in. So you should ensure that while you are working with table, always name your table. Automatically give your table a name. So looking at this table, if you're under your table and design, you will see that it has. So this table is table 1. If I have another table, it will name it for me as table 2 or table 3. So this is how a table looks like. When you format your data as a table, it is an official recognized table for Excel. It means this table is structured. You have formatted this data as a table. So now let's begin. And what table does is it will make your calculation easy. When you are using a table, when you want to summarize your data, when you want to add in new data, while using your table, table will make it easy for you to be able to summarize your data. So now we have this data, and I want to calculate the total. I want to calculate the total amount for the month of October. I want to calculate the total amount for November and same thing for December. So you can just come here under the total column, then press your Alt equal to. Your Alt equal to is a shortcut for sum. This will automatically sum your data for you. I hope we get that. So while using your table, if you notice what this table has done, you only perform the operation on the first cell under your total column. Then it has copied down the sum function across the column. And you'll notice another thing under table is table will always reference the name of your column. That's your table header. So if you look at this header, the name is we summed column October, column November, then column we sum column October down to column December. That's on your formula bar. Please, if I'm too fast, please signify. If you understand it, please signify that you understand it, please. So you using your sum function, it is not every time that you start using equals to sum, equals to sum, equals to sum. The shortcut is just your Alt equal to. That will just give you your sum. Same thing goes to the denominator also. You can use your table to find an average, the count, the maximum, even a minimum number in a table. So I have a set of table here now. What's the minimum value? What's the average value of this? How do I go about this? So there is a step-by-step here for you to be able to go through this. So just select any cell that you have here. Then go to your table and tool design. Under your table and tool design here, you have your total row under your table style option. When you click on your total row, you will notice that it has calculated the total underneath. It has calculated the total underneath here. If you select the total, you will beside this. When you click on the arrow, you see some set of drop downs here. So I might decide that I want to see the maximum sales. So it has given me the maximum sales. If you decide that you want to see the average, it has automatically averaged this set of numbers for you. This is the average. Same thing goes to a minimum also. What's the minimum sales that we have here? The minimum sales that we have here is 1,000. So these are part of the functions of a table. So table will make it easy for you to make some calculations. It will make it easy for you to update your data, to make it easy for you to name your column, to make it easy for you to be able to track your errors. So these are some of the functions of tables for you. And always ensure that you name your table. How do you do that? When you have converted your data as a table, under your table design, under the table's properties, you will see the table name. Then you can name your table. I can say this is practice table. Ensure that there is no space while you are naming your table. So this table name is called practice table. So while you will be referencing this table in another sheet, or you want to perform an operation, you want to do some lookups, it would always reference the name of this table in your calculation. Do we have any question before we move to the next? Do we have any question before we move down to the next?
Please, come again. How to name the table?
Okay. So I have this data. Let me try to copy out this. It's my data. This is just on a flat file here. It's just empty. It's not, even if I put a border here, it does not signify that it is a table. This does not signify that it is a table. So how do I go about this? I format this as a table. On your Home tab, you will see Format as Table. If you don't want to go through you navigating through your Home tab, you can just press the shortcut key, Ctrl+T. Then the Ctrl+T will select your table. Then you click on your OK. Then this is an Excel table. So if you go to your Table and Design, under your properties on the left-hand side, top left-hand side of your ribbon, you will see table name. So this table name is table 4, but I don't want this default name. I want to give it question 1, then enter. So the name of this table on the right is question 1. The name of this table on the left is practice table. Do we understand that now? Is that
Yes,
clear?
thank you.
Okay. So do we all understand before we now move to drop downs? So what do we mean by drop downs? So in the course of we working with Excel, we would find it that we would be inputting data. You would want to perform some data entries while you are working with your spreadsheets. So let's assume you are given a set of data, or you are given a new hire to type some data for you, to input some data in your Excel. And you already know that there's probability that there will be some errors while inputting this data. Then you might decide to validate the data. How do you go about that? So I have a set of data. I have names, departments, I have gender, I have under my gender, you have your male, female. Under your department, you have your IT department, you have your finance, you have your marketing department. So you have several names, and you want the new hire to put the appropriate department for each names. So for Alade is in IT. So if you have given this to the new hire might decide to type IT full stop. Another person might decide to type IT space bar. While you are trying to perform your analysis, you will notice that, oh, there are some discrepancies while you working with the department. So to avoid those errors, you will decide to validate those particular cells. So how do you go about that? So using this example now, I want to validate the department with just 3 departments. I want it to only show me produce, meat, and bakery for this type of food. As 3 departments to calculate this set of food. How do I go about that? So all I need to do is I can highlight all the places I want to validate. Then I go to my data. Under your data tools, you'll see your data validation. So under your data validation, you see that the first argument that you have under your validation criteria, it is any value. So you don't want any value to be here. You want to list the values that will be here. Then click on your list. When you click on your list, underneath, you will see source. So what this source means is, since you have selected your list, on your data file, what is on your source will be what will be showing on your spreadsheet. So here, all I want you to show me is produce. Print it with comma. I want you to show me meat. Then bakery. Then I hit my OK. What you will notice here now is when you select a cell, beside your cell, you will see a triangle showing you that when you click on this, there is a drop down. So while the new hire is trying to type in something here, if the hire try to type something that is not under the validation, then an error sign will pop up that what you're trying to type here does not correlate with the data validation that is on that particular cell. So it is telling you that the value doesn't match the data validation restriction that is defined for the cell. Do we get that? You can also decide to name the cell or to try to put a little bit of clarification so that the person will know that, oh, what I'm trying to input here is wrong. This person has given me a guide that, oh, how do you go about that? Under your data validation, you highlight where you want to put your data validation. You click on your data, my source. So this is an input message. Under your input message, you can just give it title that, okay, department. What will be the input message? You are telling the person, oh, input the department. Then you would signify an error alert also. So when the person does not input the correct data, what did you want your validation to tell the person? You are telling the person you have inputted a wrong department. When you click on OK. So when you select a particular cell, you see that you have a yellow statement coming out telling you that, oh, input a department. So the person automatically knows that on this particular cell, all I need to input is a department. So while the person is trying to input the department, if there is an error, let's say the person tried to type jog, the error signal that will pop up is you have inputted a wrong department, showing that it does not conform to the data validation that is on that particular cell. I hope we get this.
Hello, Aziz, recap that, please.
Okay. So for your drop down, what you want your drop down to do for you is you want to validate it. So I have some set of names. I have some set of names. So I have Ademola.
So
I have Showa.
I have
I have
I have
I have
Kenge,
Kehinde,
then I
and
have
I have
Latif,
Latif,
and I have
and I have
Samson,
Samson,
and I have
I have
Bimbo.
Bimbo.
So these
So
are
these
the
are the
names.
names.
I want
I
to
want to
validate
validate
this
this
using
using
male
male
and
and
female.
female.
So if
If
I'm
I've
giving
given
somebody to
somebody to
input
input
this,
this,
that
that
let
let
me
me differentiate this using the agenda. Someone might decide to start typing male, then full stop, enter. Another person will decide to type female, MAIL. Another person might decide to type male as MAIL instead of male. So Latif also. Another person might, this Latif is MALEE. So to avoid this type of errors, another person might say, okay, this Samson is a female, then full stop. You don't want
Hello,
these
Abdul.
types of error. You want to
Hello,
validate
Abdul.
this. Yes, I'm with you.
Abdul. Yeah,
Yes, I
someone
can
is
hear you.
saying he's not seeing the screen. Bash. For over 5 minutes, he has been saying he can't see the screen. So I don't know if everybody is experiencing that too.
Can see my screen.
Yes, I can see yours.
Please, can you see my screen?
I can see your screen.
No, I can't see your
Okay.
screen. No, I can't see your screen. Abdul.
So I'll suggest the person should log out and log in again. I'll suggest the person should log out and log in again.
Abdul, I've done that. It's still the same.
So I'll suggest the person should try to log out and log in again.
I've done that though. I've done that. It's still the same. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. So is that the only person that is having the issue or everyone? Can you see my screen?
Yes, he's the only one having the issue. Just him alone.
Okay. So I have this set of names here. I want to validate them based on the agenda. So I don't want the person to start typing. All I want the person to do is just have a drop down, then click on the drop down, then to specify the person's gender. How do you go about that? So I've highlighted this to my data validation. Then I specify that it is a list. So under your source, then I can say male, comma, then female. The female. Then I OK this. So when the person sees Ademola, all the person needs to do is just click on the drop down, then the person will see male, see female. So the person does not have typing anything in the cell. Do we understand now? I hope we understand now. I need feedback, please. So, but the ideal way for us to do a drop down, because while you are using a drop down, you can't start typing your drop down in your source file. So let's say you have a drop down that is as long as 23, 25. So the best thing you need to do is ensure you have the list of the drop downs you want to validate. Ensure you have the list somewhere. Then you can now reference the list. So let's do the same thing here. So in this case, I already have the list I want to validate my department with. All I need to do is highlight where, then I go to my data bar, I go to my data validation, then I click on my list. So under the source, all I need to do is to go and reference the list I want. Then I can go back and click on my OK. Then we have this. So do we have anybody that don't understand this? Do we all understand this?
Yes, it is clear.
Please feedback. Okay, thank you. So here we are going to do a quick analysis where you can just analyze your data, where you can have a quick insight about your data, where you would see a set of data within 2-3 seconds, you highlight the data, then you say, okay, this is what this data speaks to. So we have this data, we have our department, the categories, then the months. Then I want to have a quick analysis of this. So how do I go about that? So the first thing you need to do is you need to click and drag and select the cell first. When you highlight your data, you'll notice that there is a pop-up on the right-hand side of the selected data. When you click on it, then you have another pop-up. So under this pop-up, then you can now decide, oh, you want your data bar, you want your trend lines, you want your data color. So in this case, you can decide to pick your data bar. So what does this mean? So looking at this data, looking at this table itself, this is giving you a straight insight that, oh, you have some bars that are longer than the others. So that's telling you that, oh, the amount or the price you have in one cell is greater than the one you have in another cell. So this will give you a quick analysis of your data set. I hope we get this. So you highlight your data. Let me undo this again. So you highlight your data. You click on the quick analysis bar. Then you can give it any analysis you want to do. Here, I can decide to give it a color. So this color, what does this color mean? It's telling me, okay, I have some greens, I have some red. Oh, I think I'm doing well in the greens, and I think I need to do more on the cells that are showing me red. I hope you understand this. You can also make a chart. You can also make a quick chart on this also. So you can select a cell, then you press your Control Q. So it will automatically highlight your data set for you. You go to your charts, then you can decide to pick a chart that you feel will be okay for you. So these are automatically bring out the chart for you. It will bring out a table, then it will bring out a pivot chart for you. Do we have anybody that don't understand this, please? Please feedback. So do we have anyone that do not
Understood. Go on.
understand this? Okay, good. So you can also carry out this by using a spark line also. So what does a spark line mean? So the way you have your line chart that will give you the trends of how your data looks like, a spark line is just like a mini line chart. It will show you the trends of how your data looks like. So looking at this, it has given me that, oh, for the month of October, for the month of November, and for the month of December. So this is a spark line showing me the trend of how my data looks like also. Now we'll be going to charts. So for your chart, you have different charts for you to be able to visualize your data sets. So when you want to visualize your data sets, it is not every time your data set will look in a table format. Sometimes you need to present your data in a way that when your audience looks at your data, it will be easy for them to relate with what you are presenting, what you are speaking to. So how do you go about that? So you already have your data sets. When you highlight your data sets, or you are in any cell in your data, when you go to your inserts, then you can see insert recommended charts. That's under your chart. When you click on recommended charts, Excel will recommend some charts for you. So here you have different type of charts that have been recommended for you. If you feel you don't like these recommended charts, you can click on all charts. Then what will all charts do? You would have different types of charts. So you have the line chart, the pie charts. Under the pie charts, you have the donut charts. You have another bar pie. You have your column. You have your area charts down to your tree map. But in this case, I'll suggest we use a column chart. So I'll decide to pick this column chart. Then I'm using these. So this column chart here is telling me that, okay, the blue bar is for my year, then the orange bar is for the attendance. You can decide to remove the grid lines. When you click on the plus beside your chart, you can decide to uncheck the grid lines. You can try to check the data bars also. You can even decide to remove the title if you want to see the title. You don't want to see the title. You want to see the axis, or you don't want to see the axis also. So you can navigate your way. Even the legend also, you can decide to keep the legend or not. But most of the time, it is advised that you always keep the legend. Another thing is your axis, where you have the horizontal and the vertical axis. So you can decide that you want to see the horizontal axis and you don't want to see the vertical axis. So in this case, I want to see my vertical axis and my horizontal axis. So this is what I have here. So do we understand charts before we move down to the last session for today, which is the pivot table. Do we have any question from what we have been doing before we move to the last one in just 2, 3, 5 seconds?
For the chart that you did just now, it showed some numbers, 2,000, 5,000, accord each bars. How did you do that? Hello?
So I deleted that so that I'll start again so that you understand this. So this is my data. I go to my insert chart. Then I'm using a column chart. So this is my column chart. So my column chart automatically shows me my vertical axis and the horizontal axis. In some cases, you feel like you don't want to see the vertical axis or you don't want to see the horizontal axis. All you need to see is the data bar, the data label. So in this case, the vertical axis is to show, oh, this is the axis. This is what this column, this is where it's reached. But I don't want that. I need to see the exact values. So I decided, okay, I want to see my data label. So I've clicked on my data label. Then on my axis, I don't want to see the vertical axis. Since I've already checked my data, so my data label and the vertical axis, they are speaking to the same thing. So I don't want to see the vertical axis, so I can uncheck my vertical axis. Same thing goes to the grid lines. The grid line speaks to the vertical axis, directing us to the vertical axis. So I don't want to see the grid lines also. So I'm removing the grid line. So that's how we check the data. Do you understand that now?
Yes, thank you very much.
So any other question before we move down to the pivot table? Any other question? Okay. So what does pivot table means? So the basic function of a pivot table is to summarize your data, to give you a quick insight about your data. So you have a large data set as let's say 1,000, 3,000, and you need to summarize the data sets. How do you go about that? That is where pivot table comes in. So how do you do your pivot table? So the first thing is you need to have a data set first. When you have a data set, ensure that your data set is in a table format. When your data is in table format, then it will be easy for you to pivot your table. When you have your new data, when you join it to the initial table that you have, by you clicking one button on your pivot table, then it will automatically update your data set for you. So I would use the other data that we have as an example. So do we have this data that I'm presenting, please? And can you see my screen? So if you look at this data set, This data set is as large as 101 inputs. So you have the region, you have the country, you have the order ID down to the total cost, total revenue, and the total profit. And I want to summarize this data set. How do I go about it? The first thing I need to do is I would ensure that this is in table format. Then I ensure this is in table format. How do I do that? Is that I use the Control T, the shortcut, or I use the format as table. So I'm formatting this as a table. Then I'm saying this is my sales. I'm naming my table as sales record. So this is the first thing that I have done. I've ensured that my data is in table format. I have named my table. The next thing is I would ensure that my headers, I don't have an empty header. That's the second thing I need to do while I'm trying to use a pivot table. The first thing is ensure that your data set is in form of table so that it will be easy for you to always update your data set. Ensure that your table is named and ensure that you don't have an empty header in your data set. Then the next thing is you to insert your pivot table. Then you go to your insert, then you click on your pivot table. What you would notice is a pane would pop up, then selecting the name of your table for you, it will select the range of your data set for you. But since you have already named your table, it is referencing the name of your table itself. That's on your table or range. What do you need to do now? I want to summarize this table on a new worksheet. Do you want it to summarize it on this existing sheet that you have? I'll decide that I want this to be summarized on a new worksheet. Then I click on my OK. Then this comes out. Then your pivot table is ready to summarize your data sets for you. Now, I want to see my data by region. Then I'm bringing my region to my rows. What do I want to see for my region? I want to see the total cost and I want to see the total profit. That's what I want to do. So I'm bringing my total cost that is on my fields, I'm bringing it down to the values. Click and drag. Then I'm also bringing my total profit down to values. Please, do we understand? If there's anybody that don't understand, please signify.
I don't understand.
Okay. So I would close this, or better still, let me delete this. Good. Do you understand up to this point where we formatted our data as a table?
Yes,
Do you
yes,
understand to the point where this was formatted as a table?
yes.
Okay, good. So now this is your data on a table format. You want to pivot this table. All you need to do is go to your insert, then click on your pivot table. Then this pane will pop up requesting that, do you want me to carry out this pivot table on a new worksheet or on this existing sheet. So I'll decide that I want this to be on a new sheet. So what you will notice is that you would have your pivot fields on the right hand side, and you have the list of your headers also. These are the first two things you would notice. You have your pivot fields and you have the names of headers. So if you go back to your table, these headers that you have above, they are the ones that you are seeing on your pivot table fields. So any action you want to perform, all you need to do is you click and drag it into your field, either on the column field or on the row field or on the values. So I'm saying I want to see my region. I want to see it on rows. You click and drag your region to rows. Then it will list out your regions for you on the rows. The next thing is I want to see my total cost. Then I'm clicking and dragging my total cost to the values. I want to see my total profit also. I'm clicking and dragging this down to the values. Then I have easily summarized my data set. So within 2-3 minutes, I have summarized this table that, oh, my total cost for Asia is this, and my profit for Asia is this. And you have the grand total also. You can also decide that, oh, I want to know the count of the item types, or you want to see the item types that gives you the highest profit. You can also decide to look that. Let me try so that we would understand the pivot table once more. This is my table. I click on my insert or my pivot table. Then I'm trying to use existing. On my existing, I'll select the initial one, then I'll click on the location, then I'll OK it. So now I want to see my item types on my rows. So these are the list of my items. Then I want to see the total profits. So this is the total profit. Then I can decide to sort this also. When you right click on your total, then you sort from the largest to the smallest. So with this, I already know that my cosmetics is giving me the highest profits, while my fruit is giving me the lowest profit. Do we have any question about this?
Yes, the second rule for the one that has a cosmetic to some total point. I understand the first part of the table, but the second part, how do they get the second part? It's not clear.
Okay. So when you want to insert your pivot table, the pane that will pop up is, where do you want your pivot table to be placed? Do you want it to be placed in an existing worksheet, or do you want it to be placed in a new worksheet? If you check a new worksheet and you click on your OK, it will create a new worksheet for you. If you check an existing worksheet, then you would be the one to decide the worksheet you want it to put it, which is the location. So on the location, I'm selecting sheet 4. Then I'll select where I want it to be. So this has been selected. Then I click on my location, my pop-up pane again. Then I click on my OK. Good. Now I have my list of headers. Now all I need to see is I want to see my profits by my country. So this is my country. I can decide to put my country on the rows. If you put it on rows, it would list them vertically. If you put it on columns, it will list them horizontally. So this is me putting my country on my rows. Then I can decide to say, okay, I want to put my region on my columns. Then I can decide I want to see the profits. Then put it on your values. What is this speaking to? This is speaking to us that Albania is not an Asia country. It's not an Australian country. It falls under Europe. And that's why we have profit for Europe. Do you understand? If you don't want to see it by your country and by your region, you can just click and drag it out from your feeds. Then I'm saying, okay, I want to see this by my item type. You click and drag your item type on your rows. Then I want to see the total cost. I'm putting it on my values. Then it will bring out the values for me. You can decide that you want to sort this from the smallest to the largest, or from the largest to the smallest. When you right click on this, on your sum total, when you right click on it, under your sort, then you can sort from largest to smallest. So under this, you know that your office supplies is giving you 279,000. So these are sorted these out to the smallest. You can also do from smallest to largest, or largest to, okay, this is largest to smallest. So then let's sort from smallest to largest. Okay. So the fruit is giving us the smallest cost, while the office supply is giving us the largest cost. Do we all understand? So do we have any question while we wrap today's session up? Any question, please? Do we have any question